Hello class, a very warm hello, hi to everyone, to all the learners who have joined. So this is going to be a wonderful session for all of you. We are going to learn what do we understand by thinking fast and slow. So I am Shruti Kaura class. I am an award winner at Unacademy and I carry this special badge on which it's written I am remarkable. So this is a glimpse of my award. You all can have a look at it. Moving further, there are a lot of batch courses. Do enroll yourself for that. Do learn and definitely do grow in your life. Secondly, I would love to see your names one day on this slide, and for sure that's gonna happen. Next, so my Unacademy discount code is SCORALive. Use this code to get the discount at Unacademy. Secondly, most of the time this question comes to me, how to buy an Academy subscription. There are 2 subscriptions in this category, but this code is applicable throughout Unacademy, that is SCORALive. Use this code here and get the benefit. So under the plus category, majorly 2 subscriptions are the most favorite ones, that is 24 months and 12 months, and there is one more good news for all of you. And similarly in the iconic, there are 2 subscriptions, that is 24 and 12. And when I said good news, so if you are gonna buy the subscription, not only you are going to get the discount with the help of SCORALive, but if you buy it for 12 months, you'll get 3 months free. Even if you buy it for 24 months, you are going to get 3 months free. So definitely this is a limited edition offer. Go ahead, use the code SCORALive and get the maximum benefit. Secondly, there is a scholarship test. Use that, utilize the code SCORALive and get the benefit of this scholarship test worth rupees 55 lakhs. There are a lot of batches, as I just said. Go ahead and enroll yourself. Campus placement IT jobs is a new category. Go ahead, offer is valid on plus subscription till 11th of August. It's a 360-degree support to crack your interviews for TCS, Infosys, Cognizant and many other exams. Skill Builder schedule is already there. Now, moving further, books. We are going to study books class that are going to change our life. Books that can change our life. As I always say, leaders are always readers. This is one of my favorite quotes. Moving further, the question that should be there in your mind is, ma'am, which country reads the most in the world? Again, if I am looking for some guesses, can you type some guesses in the live chat? I can see that class all across India, all across the world. Which country reads the most in the world? I am pretty sure the guesses are going to be US, UK, Finland, Sweden. These are going to be the guesses. No. The country that reads the most in the world is India. 10 minutes. Is it 10 hours, 42 minutes? 10 hours, 42 minutes spent in reading per person per week. So yes, India has taken the first position. The book that we are going to discuss today, as I just said, Thinking Fast and Slow. Oh my God. These are 2 opposite statements together. Is this some kind of oxymoron? Who is the author? It's Daniel Kahneman. Now, if you talk about Daniel Kahneman or Daniel Kahneman, right? So, how is this going to be, possible that I am thinking fast and I am thinking slow? Let me tell you, it's an international bestseller class. It's going to be a great experience for you. You are going to learn a lot. This is a rich book, astonishingly rich book. Lucid, profound, and it's full of intellectual surprises. When I said intellectual surprises, yes, I do mean by that intellectual surprises. It's astonishingly rich book class, lucid, profound and full of intellectual surprises. So basically this book is based upon behavioral psychology and decision making. Behavioral psychology and decision making. So, it's going to tell you the major research of the Daniel Kahneman his research that he conducted for almost 40 years, summarizes some of the major results of the past 40 years of his research. So you can have a look at the author, Mr. Daniel. He is an Israeli-American psychologist and of course an economist too. Israeli-American psychologist and economist. So he is notable for his work on psychology on judgment. If you talk about the field psychology class, he majorly did his work in psychology on judgment and decision making. Now, not only I told you that his psychology on decision making, but then behavioral economics. Again, I'm repeating the words behavioral psychology. That is psychology on judgment or behavioral economics. So he was awarded Nobel Prize in 2002 class. He was awarded, you can have a look here, Nobel Prize in 2002 for economic sciences. So he is a Nobel Prize winner. The book name is Thinking Fast and Slow. It's an international bestseller, and look, the author is awarded Nobel Prize. So you can understand the importance of this book. Now the question comes for this international bestseller, that what is the central thesis of this book? Why are we studying it here? Let me tell you. This book is actually a dichotomy between two modes of thought. See, brain is divided into two parts, and this book is basically, it's a dichotomy between two modes of thought or between two cognitive systems. You can have a look here. So the first one, or the first, kind of system is called as system 1. Author calls it as a fast thinking brain. The second system is called as a system 2. Author calls it as the slow thinking brain. Now, what is the system 1 and system 2? In the science, in your primary secondary classes, in your primary secondary education, have you ever studied in science that brain has got to be, just know about left brain and the right brain? So are we going towards the left brain and the right brain? No, it has nothing to do with that part. It is just the system 1 and system 2. So every day we take so many decisions, like what are we going to wear to the office? If there is some function, what are we going to wear in that function, right? What we are going to give somebody on the birthday or on some festival or on some occasion or anniversary. We take so many decisions in our day-to-day life, right? Whom we are going to vote, etc., etc. So many decisions. Life is full of decisions. You cannot run away from decision making. And have you ever thought about that? What are the things that influence our decisions? I'll tell you. Our decisions are always influenced by something. Our decisions, for example, if we are going to give gift to someone, so we'll think about that, how close we are with that person, what is the budget, what is the occasion. There are so many things. So our decisions are always influenced by something. Now, if you talk about the author, according to the author, I'm saying, human take decisions through two ways. Yes, author is not attributing to the factors that I just told you. Author is saying that our decisions are influenced through two ways, system 1 and system 2. System 1, what is the system 1, system 2? Let's first understand system 1 is fast. It's casual. It always follows a casual approach. It's basically about your intuition or gut feeling. Whereas system 2, it requires mental effort, mental calculations. Both the thinking could be right or could be wrong. Now the question that must be there in your mind is that, ma'am, which system is good? If according to the author, our decisions are influenced by two systems of thinking, that is system 1, system 2. So is the author telling that this is a good system, this is a bad? No. Based on the situation, both the thinking could be right or wrong depending upon the situation. Problem. So where is a problem? Actually, when we use fast thinking, most of the time we are programmed to use fast thinking and we end up taking wrong decisions, class. This is where comes the catch. You said that, ma'am, if I am thinking fast, it's good. I am taking decision based on system 1, I feel it's good. Whereas the system 2 is slow. And a general tendency, general human tendency is that slow is not a good word. In general, the word slow is not so positive. But here is the catch. Class, here is the catch. The problem is that when you use fast thinking in place of slow thinking, you end up taking wrong decisions because you don't know that here in this situation, you were supposed to follow the path of slow thinking, but you actually took decision in a very fast way, right? Now, why fast thinking sometimes go wrong? The question is that, ma'am, why the fast thinking sometimes go wrong? Class, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you that why the fast thinking sometimes go wrong. If the fast thinking sometimes goes wrong, that could be, there could be number of reasons, but then, how will you get the benefit, or what are you going to gain after reading this book? Actually, the main purpose of reading this book is you're going to understand your brain properly. See, decision making is the most tough thing in this world. In fact, it's the toughest thing in this world, because your future depends on your decisions which you are going to take in your present. So you should learn the art of decision making. So basically, the first and foremost purpose of this book is to understand the brain, understand your brain properly. Your thought process, you should be able to comprehend your thought process. But many a times, we don't understand why we do certain things. There are certain things we have been doing, we kept doing, but we fail to understand the reason behind it. As soon as we meet someone, we talk to someone, we talk to a stranger or maybe an acquaintance, we start judging that person. We jump to conclusions. Our minds start jumping into conclusion. Maybe we have made some boxes in our mind and we try to fit that person into that box. And if that person does not fit into any of the box, we started getting worried. So why do this happens? I mean, why does this, people think in this manner? Why do people think in this manner? Why this situation arises? So when you understand your brain, your fast thinking, your slow thinking brain, you'll realize that this is the reason why you were like that. The question is there, ma'am, how can I get the benefit after reading this book, or how will I be benefited? So basically, if you are looking for the answers to these questions, like why you judge others, why you always, make certain assumptions. So, if you are able to understand your system 1 and system 2, you will be able to get the answer to all these questions, that why you were like that. So, what is going to change in your life after reading this book? How is your life going to change after reading this book, class? So, by the end, you'll have a better understanding of how the mind works. Sometimes, class, your mind works, but sometimes it deceives you. कभी कभी ये आपको धोखा भी देता है. Your mind deceives you sometimes. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it deceives you. How? It's your mind. Come on. It's your brain. Then how come we are saying that it actually deceives you? So you can use this information of system 1 thinking and system 2 thinking for self-analysis, for self-improvement. So basically, the next question that must be there in your mind is that, ma'am, are there kind of two separate sections in my brain? Is the brain divided into two separate sections like system 1, system 2? See, these two systems coexist. In the human brain, they coexist, and together they'll help you to navigate life. Together they help you to navigate life. There is, it's not the case that there is literally or physically some separate sections of system 1 and system 2. No, it's just a concept. We are not entering into the functionality of a brain or the science, actual scientific concepts. We are just trying to understand the science behind the decision making, the psychology of judgment, the behavioral economics. Now, you got the fact that our brain is not divided into two parts. It's just a concept that helps us to navigate life. Now, system 1 is fast, as we just got to know that if we are talking about thinking fast, we are talking about system 1. Everybody write on the in the live chat, everybody should start writing system 1 is equal to thinking fast. System 2 is equal to thinking slow. So system 1 is fast, class. It operates automatically, involuntarily. Even though I want it or I don't want it, it's gonna operate involuntarily. Unconsciously, it's already there. It cannot be stopped. It's running continuously. This is what is the characteristic. These are the characteristics of system 1. Try to understand. Now, the question that must be there in your mind is that, ma'am, are there any examples of situations where our brain uses the system 1 thinking? Yes. I'm going to show you certain examples where our brain is, it generally uses system 1 thinking. Now, there are a lot of situations where you apply this effortlessly. There are a lot of everyday decisions where you apply system 1 thinking effortlessly. So what are those situations? When you drive, come on, right? This is the gear. This is where, first gear, second gear, third gear, fifth gear, then of course, there is a back gear. So when you drive, there is an accelerator, brake and a clutch. When you recall your age, everybody knows their age. You don't have to do much mental calculation to tell others what your age is. When you are, you're lost somewhere, maybe on the road while coming back from your office or college. So it's not that difficult. You will navigate your way home on familiar roads. I'm talking about familiar roads. You know that first you have to follow this street, then that road, and then it will ultimately reach to your house. When you're doing 2 plus 2, are you going to apply a lot of mathematics, mathematical calculation or maths in it? A lot of mathematics? No. Your system 1 thinking is doing it involuntarily, fast. It cannot be stopped. It's automatically happening inside your brain. When you're recognizing your friend, all of you in my class, you all are friends, right? One big family. So you use a lot of thinking while recognizing your way, friends, while navigating your way home on familiar roads, when you're doing 2 plus 2, when you're driving? Actually, no. These are all the examples of system 1 thinking. Now, on the contrary, system 2 is slow. It's only called upon when necessary to provide specific details. When you have to give specific details, then you take the help of system 2. When you want to give reason, when you want to compute, when you want to analyze and solve difficult problems. What are the examples of those situations in your life when your brain uses system 2 thinking? Class, whenever you learn something new, mind it, whenever you learn something new, your brain uses system 2 thinking. Whenever you are solving new complicated maths problem, your brain is using system 2 thinking. Whenever you are doing some new physical activity, then also your brain is using system 2 thinking. Or let's say there is a crowd, your brain is searching someone in the crowd, you are using system 2. So this system is required for methodological reasoning or logic. Whenever there is a methodical reasoning or logic, whenever there is a methodical reasoning or logic, your brain uses system 2 thinking. So what it is doing? It is confirming. It is correcting system 1 judgment. If the system 1 is wrong, it is correcting the judgment of system 1. It's more reliable. So what is the problem? Actually takes time. It requires effort and concentration. It's not going to happen overnight. There is not some, magic gin and a lamp. It's your brain only. Your brain will answer what you have, fed to your brain. So this is why I was saying that whenever you are solving some, whenever you are entering into some new situation, whenever you are solving some new mathematical problem, whenever you are doing some new activity, then your brain uses system 2 thinking. But it requires effort, concentration, focus, and it takes time. It's slow. Now, a lot of energy is required to think. Whenever you are thinking, actually you are consuming a lot of your energy. You have to exercise self-control. You don't have to quickly come to the answer. Don't jump to conclusions. Your mental capacity gets depleted with use, class. So that is the reason our, brain is hardwired, or it's programmed in such a way that we always take the path of least resistance. Where we feel, no, we don't want to put so much of effort, so much of concentration, we always take the path of least resistance. So system 1 and system 2 work together, class. And this system 1 and system 2 affect our perceptions and decisions. This is what I was telling you, that our decisions are influenced by the system 1 and system 2 thinking. Generally, our decisions are influenced by so many factors, but according to the author of Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman, according to him, our brain, our decisions are influenced by system 1 and system 2 thinking. So we need both the systems. Okay, we need both the systems. So what is the key? The key is to become aware. You should become aware when you are prone to mistakes. For example, everybody in my class right now knows their weaknesses. Maybe, again, that's subject to maybe, or that is subjected to conditions. So you should know your mistakes. You should, you should have that awareness when you are prone to mistakes. Why? Why you should be aware of those situations? Because so that you can avoid them. When the stakes are high, you should be able to avoid those situations which are mistake prone. So now the next question, which system do you use? In the sense, is there any person in my class who can say that, ma'am, I only use system 1 thinking? Or are there any students in my class, those who are saying that, ma'am, I use only system 2 thinking? So you cannot so categorically separate that you are using system 1 thinking or somebody is using system 2. No, they both work together. Now system 1 loves to jump on conclusions. It's generally unreliable. It makes us susceptible to other suggestions. Whatever others are giving us suggestion, no, our brain generally accept that without doing much research, because system 1 loves to jump on conclusions. Others are suggesting something to us, be it unreliable. It's okay for us because we don't want to put our own efforts. We don't want to concentrate. We don't want to, do some mental exercises. Now the question is that, ma'am, how can you say that system 1 loves to jump on conclusions? Like how and why this happens? Now class, what are the faults and biases of fast thinking? There are some faults and biases of fast thinking. You must be thinking that why shouldn't I think fast, as I have been telling you from the start of the session. What's harm in thinking fast? There are some faults. There are some biases. You need to understand how your intuition, how your gut feeling affects your thoughts. Earlier I told you about thoughts. When I taught you as a man thinketh, I told you about the power of thoughts. Now I am relating that concept of thoughts, right, with intuition, with your brain, that how your intuition affects our thoughts and behavior, right? How you can tap into the benefit of slow thinking if system 1 has got some faults, some errors. So how you can tap into the benefit of slow thinking? What techniques you can use to protect yourself against those mental glitches? And those mental glitches can get you into trouble. So you can save yourself from getting into the trouble. Now, your brain quickly processes tons of stimuli daily. On a daily basis, every day, your brain processes tons of stimuli. Now, system 1, why? The question that I just asked you, that why system 1 thinking is sometimes unreliable, why it goes wrong, why you cannot rely too much on your system 1 thinking. It's because your system 1 uses heuristics. Note down this word, write it in the live chat, heuristics or mental shortcuts. Now the question is that, what do we mean by heuristics? Is it like mental shortcuts? Yes. Because I told you that system 1 is fast, it's unreliable, it works involuntarily, it cannot be stopped, it takes very quick decisions, it never gets into details, it jumps to conclusions. Now the question is, what is the meaning of the term heuristics? One meaning I told you, it's mental shortcuts. It's now the similar meaning is that it's a method of learning, or it's a method of problem solving, and it allows people to discover things themselves. They themselves discover the things. They learn from their own experiences, they learn from their own mistakes, rather than somebody telling them something. Heuristics is a way of learning, or it's a way of problem solving. Like, they start doing certain things. If they go wrong, they learn from their experiences rather than somebody telling them or making them aware. For example, let me ask you one question, class, all across India, all across the world. You can see these two lines, line 1, line 2. Can you tell me which line is longer among these two lines? Anybody all across India? I would like to see your answers in the live chat. Which line is longer? Is it line 1 or is it line 2? Most of you could answer line 2. Actually, length of both the lines is same. Look here. If you just chain the arrow rather than this arrow, if you just put this kind of arrow, right, and then measure the length, they both are same. So length of both the lines is same. But initially, when you saw both the lines, you didn't apply much brain to it. When I show you this line, your brain automatically answered that line 1 is longer. Am I correct all across India? You didn't apply much brain to it. Oh my God, it's a simple question ma'am is asking in this session. But class, this is the case, you trust your first impression. Your brain automatically answered before you thought deeply about it. Your brain automatically answered that this line here, the line number 2 is longer. Without thinking too deeply, without getting into the details, your brain automatically answered the question. Often, this happens quite often in our life class. We often end up doing mistakes through system 1 thinking. If we keep on thinking like this, if we keep on making decisions, taking decisions through system 1, this is what generally happen, the thing that I just showed you. These mistakes or fallacies are called as biases. The mistake that you did just now, or even if let's not get too specific only about this problem of line 1, line 2, generally you end up doing mistakes through your system 1 thinking, because these kind of mistakes or fallacies are called as biases. Now, how this will help me in my everyday life? If I understand the fallacies, if I understand the biases, if I understand the heuristics, if I understand the system 1 thinking and the system 2 thinking, how is it going to help me in my everyday life? Class, if I am able to understand these biases, I can use slow thinking in place of the fast thinking whenever necessary. And it will help me ultimately this will help me to take the right decisions. So what is the best solution in this scenario, in these circumstances? Like when to use system 1, we should know when should we use system 1 and when should we use system 2. Now the first term that you should know is priming. Write it down, everybody in your live chat, write it down, priming. Now class, our minds are wonderful, kind of associative machines. We generally associate things. We easily allow us to associate words. Like generally in the plus session, I associate a lot of words: hegemony, imperialism, capitalistic, monoliths, bureaucracy. Although the latter term that I just used does not have got a direct relation, but we do general associations so that our mind can work efficiently. This is what we believe. Now look at this image. Everybody look at this image: juice and then some butter, maybe some pancakes or buns or rolls. So what do you think, what will come here after SO? All of you write down in your live chat, what do you think, what will come here after SO? So what have you written here? What will come here? If your answer is soup, why you thought of soup? I'll answer that question. Second scenario. If you look here, oh my god, tal is there, then char is there, then some talc is there. So what do you think, what will come here? Do you think it is soup now again? So maybe it could be soap now. Why? The same question, SO/P. I just changed some association, some situation, something, some background. Did I hear soup and soap? Class. So class, if I am talking about food, you generally fill the blank with SOUP. Bread, juice. There is bread and juice, milk and soup. Right? Generally, when I was talking about food, the word soup came to your mind. But if I am talking about cleanliness, you fill the same blank with A, because there was tal, there was char, shampoo or talc, and then you use the word soap. Because of this priming, this association, you are susceptible to priming. Priming influences consumer decisions. Class, understand the term priming. First I taught you about system 1 thinking, system 2 thinking. Now I am telling you that why system 1 thinking is actually fallacious. What are the biases in the system 1 thinking? Why thinking fast sometimes is unreliable, it's wrong. Point number 1, priming. We have a natural tendency, inclination to associate. We generally have a common association that is always invoked inside us, and it moves us, it drives us in a particular direction or to do some particular action. And this is what, as I just said, that priming influences consumer decision. This is the nudge. This is the basis for nudges. This is the kick. This is the basis for nudges in advertising. You can call nudges as the shots of the story on YouTube. You use positive imagery, class. Are you getting the whole fact how I am linking with behavioral psychology, economics, with the marketing, the situation, the decision making, how it all is linked? Now you understood the term. Fast thinking, slow thinking, biases, heuristics, and ultimately priming, association. The next kind of the mistake or the fallacy or the bias or the heuristic biases, that is the mental shortcuts, is availability bias. What do I mean by availability bias, class? We all are humans, and we have a tendency to think that example of things, we always have some example of things that readily come to our mind. And how do they come to our mind? Based on our past events. Brain is nothing but it's a collection of your memories, events, past events. So availability bias is our tendency. We generally think of the example based on our past events, past experiences. Again, a mental shortcut. We rely on immediate example. If we have to evaluate a concept, if we have to take a decision, we are relying on our mental shortcuts because we are actually filled with some immediate examples based on our past events or past experiences. For example, you can see maybe a car thief and a car. So we all watch news. So after seeing several news report, in the news it's going on that so many cars have been stolen, there are so many incidents of car theft. You are again and again watching these kind of news, class. So you might make a judgment that a vehicle theft is common than it really is in your area, even if it is not that common in your area, but you assume, oh my god, vehicle theft is so common. Why? Because you are looking what is available to you. Earlier I gave you the example of priming, that it generally, because of this priming, you are susceptible to take those situations based on your association. Now I am talking of availability, that whatever is available to you, right, whatever you are seeing. For example, if you're watching news about car theft, that they are very common nowadays, you think that it's common in your area as well, even though in reality that could not be the case. Did you actually go to Google and check the statistics, the theft statistics in your area? Actually, no. You assumed, your mind, your system one thinking assumed that car theft is common. Second scenario. Oh my god, I'm scared, class. I'm scared. Let's say in the second situation, you are seeing several television programs on shark attacks. Right? You're watching several television programs that in USA, in Australia, shark attack is very common. And you start to think that such incidences are relatively common. Again, you saw something, right? Because this is what is available to you. TV, news, this is what is available to you. You saw that, right? Even though it is not happening in your country, even though it's not happening again nearby to you, but you failed to check the statistics. You didn't take the help of your system to thinking. You didn't go to some search engine and check out the actual statistics, but you assume based on what is available to you. So what happened? What is the result now, class? Next time when you go on vacation, you refuse to swim in the ocean. Next time when you go to vacation, you refuse to swim in the ocean. Maybe let's say you're waiting for the corona to end and you're planning to go for a US trip. So you will not swim in the ocean because you believe the probability of a shark attack is very high. This is what you read it, this is what you heard it, this is what you saw it in the news. and you assumed this thing. Similarly, earlier I talked about, shark attack. Now I'm talking about an airplane crash. You saw something about airplane crash. You saw that there is a decline in demand for air travel. Why? Because people have a fear of crash. However, see, I cannot say that another crash will not happen. The likelihood of another crash has not altered, but rather the awareness of airplane accidents has increased. Now everybody will start checking about airplane accidents. First, it was about car theft. The reality was much different than what you actually saw, read and heard. Second, shark attack. Again, the reality was different. The numbers were different. Third, even for the airplane crash or the airplane accidents, soon you will start getting a lot of news about airplane accidents. So, the availability heuristics is at play. What did you say to yourself? I'll never fly again. 12 die in airplane crash. No, I'm not gonna do that. So, you know what is happening? Your availability heuristics is at play. People access available information, whatever is available to you, be it through news, social media, your tweets, or any other thing. You take that available information and you use it to determine your future probability. So based on the available information, you use that particular information to determine your future probabilities. In the case of airplane crash, it seems like they are happening more frequently than they actually. It feels to you that airplane accidents have started happening more frequently than actually they are. इतने ज़्यादा हो नहीं रहे हैं, but because एक हुआ है, तो awareness बढ़ गई है. Lot of news channels are only showing the data statistics related to airplane crash. But did you actually check the probability? So, what is this all about, class? Things happening in the world plus news. You feel that I have got all the truth. This is where the problem is. Whatever things are happening in the world plus news, you believe that I have all the information in the world. So people who are guided by system 1, they are more susceptible to availability bias. Those who think more through system 1 thinking, they are more susceptible to availability bias than others, especially in particular when you are engaged in another effortful task. For example, right now we are doing a very effortful task. This is a very tough book. If the author has won Nobel Prize, so you can imagine that this book is not going to be so easy, which is going to touch on the topic of behavioral psychology, behavioral economics, or the science of economics. So that is why system 1 thinking are more susceptible to availability bias. If you want to get rid of availability bias, think of the following things. If you really feel that no, I want to get rid of this availability bias, then think that is my decision based on research? Whatever decision I'm going to take, let's say I'm planning to fly to UK the next year. So is my decision to fly to UK, is it based on research or is it driven by the news? Or is easily available information, or it is based on some easily available information like YouTube videos or maybe social media or advertisements? You have to do this thing to actually get rid of availability bias. So the bias of availability occurs when we take into account a salient event. ये biasing, ये गलती, mistake कब होती है? जब हम एक salient event लेते हैं, कोई recent experience या something that is so particularly vivid to us, और उससे हम एक judgment बनाते हैं. Next kind of bias is confirmation bias. What is this confirmation bias? We talked about priming, we talked about availability bias, we talked about heuristics, we talked about system 1, system 2 thinking. Then we talked about shark attack, plane crash, car theft. Then there is soap and soup. And now we are talking about confirmation bias. What do I mean by confirmation bias? Availability bias, we understood that whatever is available to us, we take that information and we based our future probabilities or future decision based on that available information. We think that we know all the truth. Now, confirmation bias is a tendency of people. You know what kind of information you favor, class? That confirms your existing beliefs. If you are a firm believer of something, you have an automatic inclination or a tendency to search for the information that is going to substantiate your beliefs, your hypothesis. You are actually not interested in contradicting your beliefs. You are so sure about your beliefs. For example, look here. Objective facts are these. But these are the objective facts and these are your confirms, your beliefs. But you will only see those facts. Look here, the coinciding area, right? So you will look only for those facts which confirms your beliefs. So this is the area which is called as the confirmation bias. You support or oppose a particular issue. If you support or oppose a particular issue, you will only seek information to support that. If you oppose the issue, you will only look for information to support that. And if you favor or support some issue, you will only look for the information that will support your belief. So, it will also interpret news stories in a way that uphold your existing ideas. Now, imagine, let's take an example. Imagine that a person holds this belief. Left-handed people. Now, let's say any one of you believes that the left-handed people are more creative than the right-handed. You have, class, listen to me. What is confirmation bias? You have this, belief in your mind that left-handed people are more creative than right-handed. And whenever you encounters a person who is left-handed as well as creative, you know what will happen inside your brain? You place greater importance on the evidence. देखा मैंने कहा था ना, this is a common thing. देखा मैंने कहा था ना. In the sense, you are placing greater importance on the evidence. What kind of evidence? The evidence that is supporting what you already believe. What you already believe, you got some evidence and you are trying to link it. That is what I just said. So this person, the person who believes that left-handed people are more creative than right-handed one, no? He will seek proof. You will actually seek proof to back up your beliefs. You'll get the proofs to back up your beliefs, while you will discount the examples that don't support your idea, that don't strengthen your idea, your belief. Getting the point all across India? In the sense, वो proofs जो आपके belief को गलत साबित करेंगे, वो आपके सामने होंगे तो भी आप उनको इग्नोर कर सकते हो और आप उन proofs को सर्च करोगे जो आपके belief को support करते हैं, strengthen करते हैं, backup देते हैं, right? The next kind of bias, so you understood priming, you understood availability bias, you understood confirmation bias. So what is this confirmation bias? You try to confirm your beliefs, you try to seek evidence, you try to search evidence to support your beliefs. If you favor an issue, if you oppose an issue, you try to give backup to your beliefs. Next, the next kind of bias that generally, now these all biases are related to system 1 thinking. I am all giving you the reason that why system 1 thinking, which is the fast thinking, is unreliable, why it is prone to errors. Who is the actor, who is the observer? Among these two, we don't know who is the actor, who is the observer. But let's see, what is this actor-observer bias? You know, class, I told you in the beginning of this session that we judge others. We jump to conclusions. You know, when it comes to other people, we tend to judge them. But when it comes to us, we blame the situation. right? When it comes to others' class, we judge them. Oh my God, he is not a good person. But when it comes to us, we blame our situation. See, I am like this because my situation was bad, na? This is what is called as actor and observer bias. You might complain that you messed up some meeting, you botched up an important meeting. Why? Oh, I had a jet lag, no? So maybe, I am allowed to botched up my meeting because I had a jet lag. Okay, because I'm talking about myself. Second, let's say you scored less in some exam, or you failed. You even failed in an exam. So you said, oh, come on. I prepared all the questions, but the teacher posed tricky questions in the exam. The teacher posed too many tricky questions. Again, you are talking about yourself. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's look at the other side of the picture. When it comes to others, you know what you will say? If your colleague has screwed up, he has botched up, he has messed up an important presentation, you will say he is lazy, he is incompetent. Oh, not because he also had jet lag. No, you're not thinking that he also had a jet lag. You say, oh my God, he's so lazy, he's so incompetent. Next, if some fellow student bombed a test, if he failed in a test, if he bombed a test, you'll say he lacks diligence. And not because they took the same test as you. With all those tricky questions, you didn't say that the teacher posed tricky questions. You directly said, oh, he's not at all hardworking. So when it comes to others, we generally tend to judge others, but when it comes to us, we blame the situation. The problem is that what will happen? This will often lead to misunderstandings and ultimately to conflicts. This is what is the problem with system one thinking, which is the fast thinking process, which is full of biases, heuristics, fallacies, or mistakes, or the mental shortcuts. Again, you took a shortcut. Each side of the situation is essentially blaming the other side. Each side of the situation is blaming the other side, class, rather than thinking about all of the variables. You didn't think about all of the variables that might be playing a role. This is a situation and there are so many variables A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z that are playing a role for this particular situation, but you fail to look at all the variables. Rather you blame the other side. The next kind of bias is anchoring bias. Now, what do I mean by anchor? Right? Generally, we compare one number to another number to get the meaning, class. We compare one number to another number to get the meaning. This is kind of again a fallacy, a mistake, or a mental shortcut that system one thinking has. What do I mean by anchoring bias? So you understood priming, you understood heuristics, you understood availability bias, you understood confirmation bias, you understood actor-observer bias. Now I am talking of anchoring bias. So what is about this anchor? Let's say you are out on a shopping class. You're looking for a blazer, maybe your placement interview is there, maybe your, MBA interview is there, maybe you are going to meet an examiner, you have an interview. So, a particular piece, maybe this piece catches your attention. You felt, oh my God, I love this blazer, I would like to have it in my wardrobe. You look at the price tag, you check the price tag, and the blazer costs INR 10k. Oh, that's a little outside my budget. You inspect the tag further. Oh, you checked it further. Maybe there could be some discounts. Yes, you got it. Yeah. On the other side, it has 25% discount. Now, this reduced sales price from INR 10k to INR 7.5k seems like a bargain to you. Oh my God, what was that 10k? I'm getting it in 7.5k. Anchoring bias. I compared 7.5 with 10k. I was not sure. I did not know the price of the blazer, right? But as soon as I got some number, that 10k has anchored in my mind, and I compared the 7.5k with the 10k, and I felt much relief. So without prior knowledge on how much a blazer cost, the initial, price of the blazer was 10k. It acted as an anchor. It influenced me to perceive that if I purchase the blazer at the reduced price, I am saving 2.5k. So I felt happy that I am saving 2.5k on this particular blazer. So what happened, class? Did you understand that? What happened this time? Actually, the initial price of 10k acted as an anchor that influenced me to perceive that if I purchase the blazer at 7.5k, I'm saving, although I'm spending, but I assumed I'm saving 2.5k. On the other hand, the seller, if you talk about the seller, the discounted price of 7.5k was actually the amount he intended to sell the product at. It was actually the amount he intended to sell the product at. And he purposefully inflated the price to some arbitrary number. That actually influenced the customer to believe that they are going to get a big bargain. That is what all happened in the summer sales or many other sales, during festive season. So now the question is that how this anchoring bias affect decision making. We took some decision, but that was related to sale and other things. How will this affect my decision making? Do we actually anchor one number before jumping to some other number? Let's look through experiment. So the experiment was conducted to confirm anchoring bias. An experiment was conducted to confirm this anchoring bias. So let's do this experiment all across the world, all across India, all across the world. Let's do this experiment. Can you guess the height of this redwood tree? Maybe the answer that I'm going to get in the live chat is that no. Everybody, those who are all are present in the live session, can you guess the height of this redwood tree? Okay, so you said no. Similarly, like I asked this question to you, two groups were surveyed. They were asked about their guesses of their height of the world's tallest redwood trees. They were asked two questions. The second question is like, what's your best guess of the height of the world's tallest redwood tree? This was the second question. The first question has got two variations in it, right? Is the height of the world tallest redwood tree more or less than 1200 feet? Right? The first variation of the question is the height of the world's tallest redwood tree more or less than 1200 feet? Now class, this survey has been conducted in Harvard and British Columbia University, Stanford and British Columbia. So these people have answered this question. The second variation of the first question was, is the height of the world's tallest redwood tree more or less than 180 feet? Now look at the numbers very carefully, class. 1200 feet, one group was given this question, 1200 feet, and another group was given this question of 180 feet. Did you know what happened after this experiment of anchoring bias, class? Actually, in the first question, the anchor was 1200. The average guess in feet was 844. The average height that people guessed, the group 1, they said 844. The anchor in the second question was 180. And the average guess in the feet was 282. So here this is what I am trying to tell you, that people anchored. Clearly there is anchoring and adjustment. You anchored somewhere and then you adjusted accordingly. In the first case, the anchor was 1200 and people adjusted according to 1200. That's how the answer came to be 844. In the second one, the anchor was 180 and people adjusted themselves to 282. So clearly there is anchoring and adjustment going on, but how great is the effect? The difference between the two average guesses was 562. The difference between the two anchors was 1020. Even if you divide this 562 by 1020 is 55%. That's a significant anchoring effect in this instance. So the anchoring effect happens when we use an initial piece of information. So this anchoring will only happen when we use some initial piece of information and then we make subsequent judgment based on that initial piece of information. In this case, mentioning this 1200 feet, it cost people to guess higher, while 180 dragged the guess down. So anchoring bias is used by many big companies class during the sales season. You know, your mind compares original price with the discounted price. You remember in the case of blazer, your mind compared the original price with the discounted price and you fear that the discount might end. So you start the fast thinking in that case. So I hope you got the basic thing. What is fast thinking? What is slow thinking, at least to a level? Now, if I ask you this question, will you pick 4% spam or 96% spam free? Let me ask you this question. Here it's written only 4% spam. Here it's written 96% spam free. That is a spam blocker. So if I say 4% spam or if I say 96% spam, what will you pick? So if your answer is I'll pick 4% spam or I'll pick 90%, whether it's right or wrong, I will tell you in the forthcoming session. But same thing, if I'll say which one would you buy, is it 80% fat free or is it 20% fat? So is your decision going to depend on how you frame questions? This is called framing effect, right? So I am taking you to a new kind of an effect which I'll explain in the forthcoming session, because this is a book which is too vast on behavioral psychologies, right, economics, or the science of economics, or even how your system 1 thinking and system 2 thinking is actually helping you together to take decisions. Your decisions are influenced by your system 1, system 2 thinking. But system 1 thinking is prone to errors like I just shared with you: availability bias, confirmation bias, actor observer bias, and just now we looked at it, anchoring bias. Now there is more to it, but that I'll discuss with you in the next session. But before that, before I leave this question to you, right? And for the YouTube assignments class, I'll post the assignment either in the Telegram group or in the comment section of the YouTube video. From there you can pick up the assignment, but we'll take the part 2 as well, where I will tell you that what is the right answer here. What is this framing effect? Oh my God, you said maybe the class is divided into A or B. Some said that only 4% spam and some said 96% spam free. So we'll discuss this thing and many more in the forthcoming session. Till then, stay tuned. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment definitely, and this is the book which is going to help us in our decision making process. So I'll take the part 2 where we will discuss the details of this particular concept. Till then, stay tuned class. This is Shruti Kaura signing off for today. We'll discuss more, we'll learn more, and we'll become the best version of ourselves. Take care all across India. Adios and gracias.